considered. Are you on self-quarantine? Have you been out at all?
We've been out, but we're trying to, adhere to the CDC protocol, which is social distancing, and so that there's no spike in these occurrences. Doing what we can as responsible citizens to try to quell the spread of this virus.
Yep. You know what? I was out today, and we went to the store to get some stuff, and the malls were packed, and the stores were packed with people. They were in line, like lines out the door. I thought we were supposed to be social distancing, but here we are. We're all right on top of each other, buying toilet paper and paper towels and everything else. I went down the toilet paper aisle. There was actually toilet paper in it. I felt as if I needed to buy it because everybody else had, but I didn't. I stopped myself. I didn't need it. We had plenty at home, so.
Well, I experienced the same thing yesterday. I was in a grocery store, and I really didn't need a lot of stuff, thankfully. So I was just picking up some odds and ends. So I was going to be able to go through the express lane, and I saw this gigantic tub of peanut butter on the bottom of the aisle, on the bottom shelf. Yeah. And I have plenty of peanut butter, but I'm as vulnerable to these instincts as anybody else is. I just thought to myself, get it. Like, I have to get it. So, I do sympathize with people. I don't sympathize with people who have 5 months worth of toilet paper so that nobody else could have any. I do understand the instinct to grab stuff because you're there and it's available.
Which is absolutely, a ridiculous thing. The people are buying toilet paper and water. And did the water stop running by any chance?
No, it didn't.
I checked mine just today and it was fine. So, all right. So I'm looking at what we got going on here. We're doing great on YouTube right now, which is fantastic. But I don't see us at all on Facebook. I'm trying to figure out what is going on here. All right. The conversation. Boom. How was your trip to Arizona?
It was good. It was great. Great to see the guys and my players and go to the Four-Mom event at Topgolf. Mm-hmm. So we just had a real blast out there. And thankfully, we did it when we did it, because we would have run up against this had we not.
Yeah, I was supposed to go on that trip. I could not afford it, so that was my. I was a little upset by that whole thing, but wish I could have been there with you guys. Would have been fun. So would have been there with you and Dean and Don. But
believe it or not, I didn't get to see those guys. I was so busy from sun up to sundown. Running around to different complexes with different players. We just never got together. And as Croce said, we could see each other in New York. You didn't come to Arizona to see guys who live within 20 miles of you.
Right? Oh, man. So I'm trying to figure out here where I am. I'm trying to figure out where I am publishing this video. It's probably on some site. I don't even know where it's going right now, because it says it's posting it right now. It's putting it out there. Now I'm just trying to figure out where. What is going on? All right. Give me one more second here, and I will. Privacy, public, boom. We should be on Facebook. Do. This is always fun.
Want me to play?
Yeah, I do. That would be fantastic. Gives me a little bit of time. All right, play another one. I'm still trying to figure this out.
We're having technical difficulty.
We are having technical. Play the technical difficulty song, if you could. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. All right, we got it.
Elton John.
Live. I know.
I'm getting serious feedback in my phone.
I know. Hold on. How about now? You getting feedback now?
Yes, I am.
You're still getting feedback?
Not as bad. Not as bad. Not as bad.
Okay. I turned it off. You should not be getting feedback. All right. Well, we're on, man. We're back. We're doing ProPrep baseball here on a Sunday night. We're live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. So let's have some fun. All right. What am I missing though? I'm missing baseball. I'll tell you that right now. We got 2 practices under our belt, right, Webbs? And then what happened? Yeah. And what happened? And then we got the word from
Dr. Fauci.
Yeah. Then we got the email from the governor and our local, commissioner, baseball commissioner, that we had to shut everything down. And my team actually, Webbs, was looking pretty good. You know, our first 2 practices, I was extremely pleased with what I was getting out of these guys. They were catching the ball, they were throwing the ball consistently. It was amazing. And then, boom, we had to shut it down. So,
well, just for the record,
mm-hmm.
If the worst thing that happens from all of this is that your team doesn't get to play for a month or so,
yeah,
we'll consider ourselves lucky.
Yeah, they've already postponed the season for a week, they said, which not bad. It's all right.
When does your season start?
First week in April, but it's second week now. They pushed it back second week.
You're not playing.
Probably not.
You're not playing.
No.
And if Major League Baseball starts by June 1st, that will be a celebrated victory.
Do you think that this virus is as bad as everybody's making it out?
I think it's a very dangerous, serious situation that, in order for it not to become a catastrophe, you got to get out in front of it and take some measures that are very extreme in the beginning, so you're not chasing it. If you chase this thing, it's going to be a disaster of epic proportions.
I think we're already chasing it.
To some degree, we may. I'm not a medical person, but I do know that you got to get out ahead of it. And some of the measures sound drastic, but I don't think they do to people that are in the know.
Yeah, they knew about it in December in China, and they didn't let us know till the end of February. So all the people who were in China and were coming back here to the U.S. and other places around the world in that time. So there was a lot. We're playing catch up, big time. So, yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind social distancing. I've been waiting for this for years. I've been wanting to social distance for myself from a lot of people.
I've been accused of social distancing my whole life. So.
Exactly.
But it's not a laughing matter. It's very serious, and people really need to take responsibility not only for themselves and not only protecting yourself from other people, but you've got to protect other people from you.
No, absolutely. The older population, obviously, they need more help than younger people. The survival rate of people who have it who are under the age of 50 is 99.7%. But
Right, but those are also
Yeah.
the most ambulatory people.
Yeah.
So if they get the virus, even if they never become symptomatic,
Yeah,
they're the
they're-
most
they're
likely to spread
transmitting
it
it.
to everyone else.
yeah, so the survival rate.
So these idiots,
is good.
who are celebrating St. Patrick's Day, who are in their 20s and 30s in Manhattan and sharing each other's drinks and convening in these bars and these close spaces, are really acting very irresponsibly.
Oh yeah, I don't want to be around anybody right now. No thanks. Although I did see the lady in front of me at the supermarket today. She had 2 Sani wipes on her handles of her thing, and then after she used everything, she wiped it all down. And then,
Well, everybody
I was
has
like-
to become a amateur Howard Hughes.
yeah, I was like, whoa, all right. I said, just don't touch me, lady. I'm good. You know, you don't have to wipe me down too. So, yeah, she was a little over the top. She had a little things pulling them out and wiping everything down. But they had people there at the store too who were walking around after people would use something, right in behind them every time. They would wipe it down. The little keypad, the little, wherever people would touch, they would wipe all those areas down. And then they say, okay, go ahead. Then the next person would go, and then they wipe it down again. So at least it's good to see that that's happening, that there are things going on.
That's encouraging.
Let's talk baseball, man. Let's talk about, or not talk about baseball because it's not going on. But I was pretty psyched to get back to it, and it was good to see baseball being played again. I know you were psyched because you were out in Arizona seeing your guys.
Yes.
What happened out there? What'd you do? So.
Well, I represent a couple of guys, and of course, I have tons of friends and former players that I'm still real close with and work with. So I wanted to get out there and see where they stood and watch them play a couple of games and watch them work out, and worked with them a little bit. So it was really great. But what did I see out there? You know what spring training is all about. Very kind of casual, everyday sort of grind that you go through in spring training to get ready for a season. And then really, in the space of 36 hours, the whole mood changed. We went to a game, I guess it was Saturday or Sunday, and by Monday, everything had changed.
Yeah.
So, the whole mood changed. A lot of guys are obviously very, very disappointed. They don't know when their season's going to start. I'm getting a lot of phone calls from my players as to how we can work out. What's a safe way for us to get back to a quasi off-season protocol, if we can. And I impressed upon them that it's safety first, and we've got to watch out for each other and for everybody else before we endeavor to do anything together. And I'm in no way, as you know, I'm not somebody who's hysterical. I'm not easily stressed by these things, but I know what the reality is, and I want to protect them from themselves to the extent that I can. So the trip was great. A lot of my players are doing extremely, extremely well, and this is now a period of time where they're just not sure and not certain. So I'm doing a lot more kind of comforting than I am anything else, and telling them that, well, we're going to get through this, and when we do, you'll pick right up where you left off.
So what do you think about the NCAA extending or allowing them to have another year of eligibility for college athletes, for college baseball players? What do you think about that? Oh, I lost you there for a second. You laughed and you kicked yourself off. All right, let me add him back real quick because he's gonna want to comment on that. All right, Tommy. There you are. Hey, gotcha. Yep. So
that
yeah,
must
go
have
ahead.
been a fortuitous cutout, because I don't know that I'm going to make a lot of friends with my response. I've already spoken to a few people about this. I don't know that the answer is so cut and dry, and that the solution is so cut and dry here. I understand emotionally how much people want the players to get their year back, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see a reason why you might just need to move on and have this be the year that didn't happen. You have incoming freshmen who are impacted by the fact that guys who they counted on graduating are now going to be there. They go to school. I may have selected that school because Ken Arnold is graduating.
Yep.
Well, now Ken Arnold's going to still be there, and I've got to sit a year. So whenever you give something to someone, you're probably taking it away from someone else.
Absolutely.
Now, that doesn't mean I couldn't be convinced that that's the solution. I just think that right now, contemplation and a little deliberation would go a long way to making sure that you hurt the fewest amount of people possible. And I don't think, here's what I do know. There is no cut and dry answer right now.
What about guys who so what about scholarships? Guys who are on scholarship. What about guys who are going to graduate this year? And now they got to, if they want to play, they got to go back for another year of school and they can't afford it. Or they have to take out a loan. Are they going to keep their scholarship? What's going on? All
My
of these things to
suspicion is
consider.
this, that far fewer players who are seniors in total are affected by this than you think. Mm-hmm. Because, first of all, a senior has to be inclined to come back and play and probably pay. Not a lot of guys are going to want to do that.
Yep.
All right? Guys want to go on with their lives at some point in time. So a percentage of the players who's eligible to come back won't come back. Though knowing those numbers, I think, gives you a better ability to come to some conclusion as to what you really should do. And I know nobody's going to like to hear this. Doing nothing is an option, and just chalking this up to fate and rub of the green.
Yeah. You have some guys who also they stayed a year to up their draft status, and then this happened, and now they have no season to up their draft status. They're kind of, where are they going to fall now if they get drafted again at all? They might not even get drafted again. You don't know.
That's a valid point, but I think that's a point that you can quantify almost to a certainty how many players reasonably that applies to.
And I think that number it's low.
Would be a lot less
Yeah.
than people want to make it out to be.
Yeah. I mean, but it sucks if you're that guy.
It all sucks.
Yeah.
But the fact that it sucks doesn't mean that you now disproportionately hurt one group for the benefit of another group.
Yeah.
It does hurt, yes. It would be somewhat similar to if a school was in a region where they had a natural disaster. Mm-hmm. They had a hurricane and they lost their field and they only wound up playing 20 games. What do you do for them?
Yeah. Well, that's a much smaller group, but you're right.
I understand, but you're not going to probably give them their eligibility because they are a much smaller group.
Yeah.
This does apply to far more players, but nonetheless, it's just as bad for those 100 players as it is for these 3,000 players.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully they get it all figured out. Dan Searle says...
It's the NCAA. You know they're going to get it wrong.
Yeah.
Somehow they're getting this wrong.
Fair enough.
That's what I am certain of.
Fair enough.
I am certain of that.
They're going to mess it up.
They'll make everybody unhappy.
Yeah. They're going to piss off everybody across the board. I get it. It was kind of nice, though. I was kind of excited about this season because I was going to get to see Danny Ford's son play a few times. Because he was going to be down, he was going to be down in Maryland a couple times. I got to see him play at Navy.
Yeah.
They played Navy, and then they played FDU. I got to see that. And I was pretty excited about checking out some more college games this spring. And then all of a sudden, over that weekend, like you said, you guys were out in Arizona, and we were at Navy watching his son play. And then that Monday, it was just, everything just felt different. It was just, what do we do now kind of a thing.
Yep.
And I've even got people, right, because, the parents, they don't quite get it with this whole thing, right? They just don't.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, they just don't get it, right? Here's the deal. they come to me and they say, and some of the other coaches said to me too, they're like, hey, well, if they cancel everything, you going to practice anyway? And I'm like, no, I'm not doing anything. They're like, what do you mean? I said, well, put it this way. Let's say we're out on the field and we're practicing, and a kid gets hit in the face with a ball, breaks his nose, got to go to the emergency room, boom, 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 right? You know who they're going to go after, because we weren't supposed to be out there, number one, right? And then, God forbid, if any of them get the virus, while we're out there or whatever. You don't know. They might. There might be one of the kids who's carrying it or gets it.
Or a parent or a coach or somebody.
So I'm like, you know what? No, we're not doing anything. Practice in your backyard. Play catch with your kid. Do what you got to do. Go to the batting cage if you feel like that's a place you need to go. But in the 2 weeks, 3 weeks that we're going to be on hiatus, I don't think, and if it's longer, whatever, but I don't think that your child is going to become a major league player in those 3 weeks. They're not going to get that much better.
That's not the difference?
No, that's not the difference. So
I will say this, that's ironic. And by the way, Joe Russo's up, my good buddy, fireman.
Yeah, awesome.
Those guys, tough job now, man, in the city. But anyway, I will say it's ironic that parents who let their kids basically do nothing for 5 months are worried about these essential. There must be something about these 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks. What's the difference? Your kid doesn't play that much anyway. He's going to take 15 weeks off. So what's the difference if he takes 3 weeks off now?
I don't know, but I guess that 3 weeks is going to be important.
It is. It's the critical 3 weeks. Everybody knows Bryce Harper went from being a terrible player to the first pick in the draft in these 3 weeks when he was like 14.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what happened. How did you know?
Everybody knows that.
Oh, wow. Man. I don't know. So, again, I love this time of year, Tommy. I hate this time of year. And I'll tell you why. I love this time of year because it's a new start. You get to get out there, see what kids have done over the wintertime, to see how they've gotten better, how they've grown, they've gotten stronger. All those things is fantastic for the age level that I'm coaching.
Every level.
But here's the issue. Now I have to deal with, because I had, again, this season, 20 people sign up and want to be on my team. I'm only carrying 12 guys. That's it.
Oh, God.
So I got to talk to 8 sets of parents about how, I'm sorry, but I don't have room on my team. Yeah, but what about this kid's on your team? My kid's not as good as them? It's not about that. It's not about that. I have certain players in certain positions and certain here. I just don't have. Your son wants to play shortstop. I already got 2 better shortstops than your son. Yeah, your son could probably play first base or something for me, but your son doesn't want to play first base for me. He wants to play shortstop, so why don't we let him go someplace else? Why don't I let him become a free agent? I'm not cutting your kid. I'm letting him become a free agent. I hate that word, cut. I'm going to let him become a free agent, and he can go someplace, any place he wants to go, and become a better player, right? And get more playing time. That's what it's about. It's crazy.
In light of maybe they haven't heard, but in light of the fact that there's a fucking global pandemic
yes,
taking place, I don't really give a shit about your kid and his baseball. Sorry.
Man, I'm sitting there, I can't. And now the commissioner of the league, who might be listening right now, and if he is, I have to have a tryout for kids.
What's his name?
What's his name? Who? The guy?
The commissioner?
The commissioner. Commissioner Gordon, we'll call him.
Commissioner
Gordon, we'll call him.
Get on the bat phone.
Yeah.
You know what you're really better off doing? You're better off getting 4 more kids and having another team.
Yeah.
If you got to cut 8, you get 4 more kids.
Right, now you got another team.
There you go.
Right? But that's the thing. They can go to another team. There is another team that they can go to. So
they want you. You should be excited.
I am, but you know what? I just can't, But now I got to hold a tryout. And I know ahead of time, because I know who these kids are, that I'm going to give you your free agency papers. So, I'm just like, I'm holding a tryout for no reason.
How old are these kids?
14. 14, Weber. 14.
They don't want to play that much.
No.
Believe me.
They don't. They would rather be playing their video games or hanging out with their friends or doing anything other. I want the kids who want to play, who want to be there.
Right, and the four kids that want to play.
And I've tried to kind of populate my team with those kids. But now I'm forced to hold their tryout for kids who don't want to be there. Come on, man. Because their parents want them to play, and their parents want them to be on my team because I happen to have played professional baseball before,
Well, you know what? Take advantage of this time as a respite from that nonsense and that silliness.
I'm trying.
And write them, write to them about perspective, and that this should be a lesson in perspective for all of us, especially those lunatics.
Yep. All right. Renee is commenting. Not only is Renee commenting, he's sending me Facebook messages through Facebook Messenger. Renee, I see your comments. I'm getting your comments. They're there. I got them. I also think that it's going to be a rude awakening. I think Renee and Brian are well positioned to reap a benefit this summer, because I think a lot of these leagues where guys are housed are going to either delay their beginning or not have a season at all. I don't know. These crazy control freak pitching coaches in college are not going to be so quick to send pitchers away. Oh, he locked up on me. All right, I'm gonna bring you back. I got you. Yep, you were talking about sending pitchers away.
Right, you're not going to have – these guys are not going to be applying to send pitchers away who haven't competed in 3.5 months, have them go 100% when they can just tell them to shut it down, which they love to do anyway.
Yeah.
And have them come back to school in August.
Yeah.
And I think you'll have a hangover effect for host families who may not be so quick to want 2 or 3 kids to live in their house with them.
Mm-hmm. All right, Webbs. You locked up again, so I'm going to turn you off for 1 second. Yeah, I can hear you fine, but you're a freeze frame. And I'm going to cut it off for 1 second and then just add it again, all right? You ready? Let me bring Tommy Weber back here. All right, Webbs, where are you? There he is. All right, I got you. You're on. Boom. Can you see yourself?
Yep.
You're an animated object. So, yeah, I also saw that some leagues, because, or Scanzo Sports Center, right? You know those guys?
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to set something up where the guys who aren't playing in college right now, they were trying to set up a league for those guys to play right now. And I don't know if that's the smartest idea, but they were trying to do something like that. Coming up, I saw it on Facebook.
Well, I don't know how you're going to be able to do that when in the very near future you're going to have shutdowns of cities. It might happen in New York where only essential businesses are open, pharmacists, doctors, hospitals, grocery stores, things of that nature. You're going to ostensibly have nothing open. Public parks are going to shut down. They're not going to have people even going into the parks. I have a friend of mine who has these beautiful fields in New Jersey. He cannot get on them. The township has forbidden him from going on the field. So you're going to have things well beyond your control that preclude you from doing any of that stuff.
Yeah. No, I agree. But that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing, all throughout, different places, they're trying to set stuff up and actually keep playing while this is happening. And like you said, not a good idea. Not right now. Like you said, take time, take a step back, and just reevaluate what the hell's going on in the world. That's all. In your world and the people around you. Figure out how you can help and not how you can get in the way. That would be
it may be a
nice.
time where we'll try to put our best selfless foot forward and not think about, what we want in the immediate
future. 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Really, this is affecting a lot of people in a really profound way. So let's be mindful of that.
Oh, absolutely. The financial ramifications alone are ridiculous. So I know that I already lost half my salary for this year, which is crazy. So I'm just, and we're just trying to figure it out now. We're just like, okay, now what do we do? Since, I'm not going to be shooting that movie that I was supposed to be shooting. So,
Well, the best we can hope for is that it ends sooner than, we project it will. And I think the government's going to have a lot of programs for people that have been adversely affected by this.
Yep.
I don't think it'll be dissimilar from what happened after September 11th, where there was a lot of funding for people whose businesses went under and who suffered financially. I have a feeling that's kind of the form it's going to take when we get on the other side of this thing.
Yeah, because we'll get to the other side of it. It's just
we will.
It's going to peak, and then then we'll start to come out of it. But like you said, it's probably going to take at least another month, maybe 2 months, before that before it fades.
I just can't see baseball in any real significant way starting up again before May.
Yeah, no.
And and then it takes 3 weeks to get ready. So now we're at June 1st, or thereabouts.
Yep. Yeah, Victor, I see that you're talking about a vaccine, but even if they do come up with a vaccine, they have to mass produce it. It has to get out to the places. But for that to happen, you're talking 6 to 8 weeks right there alone. If they did it tomorrow, if they said, we got a vaccine, boom, it would take at least 2 months.
I know a little bit about baseball.
Hey.
I know a little bit about the piano.
Yes.
I know nothing
about vaccines.
Come on, Jonas. Make that perfectly clear. I'm one of the few people, because if you go on Twitter, everyone must have had a degree in epidemiology.
Yes, exactly.
I'm one of the few people who says, I don't know anything about this.
Wrong.
So I'm trying to listen to those people who have spent their lives studying and practicing in this area.
And I'm going to buy all the toilet paper I can. No, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
Oh, well, anyway. So, Tommy Weber, we got about 15 minutes left, man. I'm struggling with a baseball term, and it was really bugging me, and I couldn't wait to get back to talk to you about it. And, we can get into this term at length if you'd like. But the on plane, you have to be on plane when you hit the ball. What does that mean? I don't get it, because I see these guys in the major leagues.
Do you mean on a plane?
On plane.
On a plane?
No. Their swing as it comes through the zone has to be on plane. And when they talk about on plane, it's like this. The plane is this way, right? Or slightly up angle, right? But then what you see is, and if this is their bat coming through the zone, right? All of a sudden you see this. Chris Bryant's a perfect example. I sent that picture of him to you the other day, where his bat, when the ball is at his belt, his bat's coming through the zone like this, like boom.
Yeah, you can get perpendicular.
Yeah, he's like that trying to hit the ball.
I mean, you want the bat. I've never used that phrase because I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'd rather use something that makes you feel it rather than kind of contemplate it. Yeah. That's just a different style that I have. It's actually better than the other style, but no, I don't want to say. Because all this other stuff is ridiculous. By the way, I'm off the ranch with all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's all a ruse. It's all nonsense. Nobody gets better because they go to Driveline or use as a gadget. Good guys are good, and they get better by working harder at the game and gaining a feel for it. And all the other stuff is hooey. And the guys on the inside in the big leagues, they think that way too. Make no mistake about it. But be that as it may, on plane is you essentially want the barrel of the bat to be parallel to your shoulder line, right? So if you're tilted and then you're this way, the bat will naturally be if it's parallel to your shoulders, it will look like it's going up, but it's really not. It's just level to your shoulders. Mm-hmm. So if the ball were shoulder high and you were going to hit it, your shoulders would move this way.
Yeah.
As the ball gets
goes
lower,
away,
your shoulders,
drop
your right
lower.
shoulder has to get lower than your left shoulder.
Exactly.
It's
That's
not
what I'm
hitting
about.
up at.
I lost him. He froze up. I'm gonna buy him some quicker internet speed at his house. You were mid like this, and you froze. It was perfect, man. You were like the perfect swing. I know you were on plane. You were on plane. It looked amazing.
Look, if a hitter maintains his posture, doesn't come up and out of it, swings at good pitches, gets the fat part of the bat on the ball more times than not, he's going to be a pretty good hitter. And all this other stuff is just a way to sort of have people separate themselves and then condescend to you, when in fact they don't know anything.
I'm just sitting there and I'm amazed at it because as the bat goes down in the zone, right? Say the bat's at your belt, right? And that's kind of close to on plane because you're slightly up, when your bat comes through the zone, if the ball is at the upper part of the strike zone. But as soon as the ball starts to drop down, your bat starts to go like this as it goes lower.
You don't want the bat tipping. I work with a lot of guys who...
It goes like this.
That's Chris Bryant is a guy who wants to hit 4 fly balls a game. He has said that. So if you want to hit the ball in the air all the time, just like if you were hitting a fungo, you'd get really underneath it and the barrel would get really low so that everything you hit goes up. Obviously, that's not a good way to try to hit everything solid. But, they pay him a lot of money to hit, 32 home runs and drive in 80 runs.
Yeah, that's amazing. 80 runs a year. What was the benchmark 30, 40 years ago, Webbs? How many RBIs
30,
per
40.
season?
20 years ago, you had to drive in 100. If you didn't drive in 100 runs in the middle of a lineup, you were doing something wrong.
120
right.
runs.
I know.
Right? You were doing something wrong, which is it's just amazing.
And the Nationals had Rendon and the kid who hit back-to-back who both drove in over 100 runs.
Soto.
Yeah,
and that
he's
kid
terrific.
That
kid's terrific.
Fantastic. He is.
You want to hit, do what he does.
Yeah. I've been
there's
watching.
Not enough of that either, Kenny. I'll say another thing. There's not enough of kids watching the guys who are the best at what they do and either imitating or watching them on a loop and just taking what they do and make it their own. There's not enough of that.
Yeah, I've been watching these guys. They do the 30 days, 30 and 30 days on Major League Network, and they're talking to guys like Albert Pujols. They're talking to,
Cabrera.
And they say, well, what do you do when you go in the cage? And you know what I see every single one of them does to get started, just to get into a groove, is they take the tee, they put it on the outside part of the plate. They move it right up to their front foot, right up to their front side, right off their front hip, right? And then they put it as high as they can get it. And then they just hit the ball to right center field and try to just stay right through there and just become consistent doing that. And then what they'll do is they'll work the tee around, they'll move it down and do. Yeah. But that's where they start to get that consistent, to keep everything in and, tight and keep their hands in and keep them quick. Through the zone and work on that consistency. Each one of them did that. I was just like, okay, well, why aren't we doing that? Why aren't as kids? Why are we just putting it on a tee and say, all right, now hit the ball in the air somewhere?
There are organizations in baseball that will not let you use a tee.
Why?
Got to ask them.
Okay, so
they know better than you do.
Albert
if you
Pujols
can't hit
is
a
wrong.
ball off a batting tee to the back of the screen consistently, you can't play.
Albert Pujols is wrong. He can't.
Freddie Freeman?
Yeah, he's wrong because he uses a tee. Cabrera, wrong because he uses a tee. And you know what they said? They said hit the ball off the back of the cage, right?
Yeah.
They didn't say hit it up into the top of the cage, which is very common right now that I hear from these hitting instructors. Hit the ball into the top of the cage. What? When did that become a thing?
The problem with optimum height is that all your misses are easy outs.
Yeah, they're going to
What
catch
you want to do is hit the ball like Christian Yelich won the MVP with an average launch angle of 4%. 4 degrees, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And Mookie Betts won with like 19. So obviously, there is no one way to consistently hit the ball, to flight the ball, to gain success.
That is
and
true.
I would argue that when in doubt, you want to get the ball a little lower because then you're going to at least hit line drives.
Yeah.
Your misses will be line drives. If you're always aiming up, a lot of your misses are going to be soft up.
Yeah, I don't disagree, especially with these kids who don't have the strength to drive the ball out of the park. They just can't. And they're watching this and they're thinking launch angle. But you know what? You know what also, and I was talking to Danny Ford about it when we were watching his son play. They don't, at Penn State, they don't preach that as much. Danny was saying that his son relayed to him, they're not preaching the launch angle thing as much as they had been previous seasons. They really haven't heard it that much. It's more of make solid contact, consistent contact on a line, work the gaps, that kind of a thing.
That's good.
There were a couple guys on that team.
If that's the case, that's good.
Yeah, there were a couple guys on that team though that I'm like, that kid should just be drop and drive, man. That's just this way he was built, But trying to make everybody into a hitting clone, no matter who you are, I just think that's not the way to approach a hitting system.
Well, enough time has passed so that if any of this worked, you'd have a lot of guys hitting 380, and you just don't.
You don't. Well, you have a lot of guys.
And you're not
striking
scoring
out.
more runs either. Remember that. Over the last generation, basically the runs have stayed the same. It's just how you score them has changed. So that really speaks to if you're going to gain runs in one way by hitting a run, you're going to lose them in another way.
Yeah.
You're not scoring more runs.
No. Well, when your batting average is below 200 when you have runners in scoring position and you're hitting 40 home runs a year and only driving in 80 runs, you're going to lose runs. What about these rules where they're going to institute them in the Florida State League, I believe, coming up? Was it the Florida State League? Where you have to step off before you throw the ball, pick off. Yeah.
I think all A ball.
Okay.
A ball and down.
Okay.
Absolutely ridiculous. Mm-hmm. It's another rung in the ladder of Rob Manfred's gross incompetence. Now a left-handed pitcher, if he wants to throw over to first base,
got to step off.
Has to step off the rubber.
Yeah.
Now, basically what that means is that you don't really need guys who could catch and throw anymore. You could put anybody behind the plate because the minute you get to first base, the first move the pitcher makes, you're running.
Yeah, just go.
Just go.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about it. Just
no more inside move to second base.
Can't do it.
And no more throwing directly over to third base.
Nope.
You must disengage from the rubber.
Yep. Step off
another,
and throw.
Another example of giving the baseball public something it's never asked for. Nobody has ever asked for this.
Wasn't there a clamoring? We need to change that.
Right. It's like instant replay. Nobody ever wanted it, but we're going to give it to you.
Anyway.
It's like going to a restaurant and you don't want dessert and they come over with like a gigantic birthday cake.
Yeah.
But I don't want it.
Yeah,
but you got to have it.
You got to have it and you're going to pay for it.
Exactly. So
this is ridiculous. Yep, there you go. What's that? Victor Coco. He's thrown in there. Is it a good time to pursue autographs for baseball players? No, not right now.
The answer would be no.
Yeah, not right now.
They were actually told early on, like when this first began, maybe 10 days ago.
Yeah.
Bring your own pen, and don't handle anything that anyone gives you to sign. So if they hold it and you sign it, and they were really, discouraging players from interacting with the fans like that.
Yeah. No, and which they should have, but now they shut it down, so it doesn't matter anyway.
Right.
That's off the table.
So it would be an even worse time to try to get their autograph because you'd have to go to their house. I wouldn't recommend that. That's my own opinion.
All of a sudden,
I mean, you could do it if you want. You knock on Aaron Judge's door. Go ahead. See what happens.
Yeah, there's God forbid somebody sets up an autograph session with like Willie Mays right now. The whole, the greatest living player. It's just, they put him out there. Oh, it's crazy. Oh my God. Okay, yeah, no, it's not a good time to get autographs, I would say. I wouldn't want to touch anything that anybody signed right now. No, that's all right. I'm good.
I've never washed my hands so much in my life.
All right, so that was the one rule change that makes no sense to me. Robo umpires in the Florida State League next season. They're going to start with that.
Again, there's no love lost between me and umpires. I mean, the umpires are really terrible. Yeah. They are. That's another thing I'm off the range on. I don't care. We have a pandemic. I can say whatever I want.
We've had a pandemic.
I mean, they are. They're just not good. The umpire, instant replay has exposed the umpires. They're not that good. And they're not that good because they're fat and they're lazy and they have a union that protects them. But that as it may. But I've come full circle. I don't want the robot umpire because it's another nuance, like turning the double play in the middle of the infield, that we're going to lose, which makes the game artistic. Catchers trying to cajole the umpire to get a pitch. That's part of the most fun part of the game.
Yeah. The catcher, just doing a little bit of framing.
Yeah.
Is that going to be a lost art?
You can't sterilize the game.
Is that going to be a lost art? I think it's going to be a lost art.
It will be.
When I teach turning the double play now, I can eliminate almost half of what I teach because you don't even need it now. You don't even need moving, taking that step across to get out of the way or taking a step back or, you know what I mean? You don't need that anymore.
Which is why a guy like Moustakis could play second base.
Yeah. You
couldn't play second base 10 years ago.
No. Because you have to have some
athleticism.
Athleticism. You got to be cunning. You got to be smart. You got to know which way to go, And sometimes you switch it up because you know that he's going to slide inside because you went inside, prior, and then this time you're going to go back. You switch it up. You can't.
And as you know, as well as anybody, it wasn't like second baseman and shortstop were going down left and right. Once in a while, there would be contact and a guy would get hurt, but that was very infrequent. Very infrequent.
You could walk out on the baseball field and trip over second base and get hurt.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's
take away sliding. Don't have any sliding. A lot of guys get hurt sliding.
So we're going to eliminate sliding.
Run through second base.
Yeah.
You're safe. Everything's a force play.
You're safe. Yes, you got to be forced at second base. If you come off the base,
a force play.
Oh man, then why don't we just make it like wiffle ball? You can just throw the ball at the guy, and you just hit him in his back. But it's going to be a softball, like a squishy ball. So you get the real ball hit to you, the hard one, and then you pull the squishy one out of your back pocket, and you wing it at him, and you hit him. So, it's absolutely ridiculous. All right, we lost Weber. One more time, we'll bring him back, and then we'll say goodnight. All right, we'll disconnect. All right, I got you.
All right,
we're going to wrap this up anyway.
Yes.
It's 8:57. We've been on for an hour. This is great. So,
above all else, seriously. This is a serious thing, people. Let's not take this lightly. Let's not worry about baseball for a week. You're off the hook now. You can exhale. You don't have to worry about some kid who's in college or AA or 14 years old. Let's just hunker down and be disciplined about our behavior for the sake of ourselves, your kids, our kids, and everybody else's kids.
Absolutely. I'm going to spend a lot of my time in my edit suite in my basement by myself, editing my movie. That's it. I don't need to do much anything else. Playing the piano. Tickling the ivory. Awesome.
I just got yelled at by my wife.
Did you? All right, yeah, well, I'm about ready to get yelled at too, so. All right, man. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Thanks, Tommy.
Be safe.
And you be safe too. All right, man. Have a good night. Love you too.